Hello and welcome to Superstar Guest Spotlight. We have Marissa O'Neill, and she is a healer. She's a spiritual guidance teacher. She talks a lot about embodiment, and we'll be hearing about that today. So let's share a little bit about Marissa. So Marissa is an award-winning author, spiritual guide, and heart and soul alchemist. She sees the highest and most aligned truth in people and situations and uses a superpower gift to unravel the mask, distortions, and fear within souls. After this unraveling process, she supports her clients rebuild the foundation of their life from pure love. And it is here where Marissa's greatest joy to empower women like you to reclaim your power, speak your truth, and emanate your light in the world. Her mission is to activate the light within every soul she meets so you can remember how to source your own freedom, love, joy, and bliss. So that all sounds really powerful. I'm sure everybody wants that. So, Marissa, thank you for being here.
Aloha. Thank you so much for having me, Sasha.
Yeah, and Marissa's from in Hawaii. So she's coming to us live
From
from
from one
Hawaii.
island to another.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm in the Caribbean. So we have some island vibes here.
Nice.
So if anyone is here, so before we get into the conversation, you can interact and comment along, chat along with us. If you have questions for Marissa, you can ask them, and we'll get to that a little later on. So make this useful for you too, so you can have a part of this conversation as well. So Marissa, I heard you have a very exciting, interesting, unique journey that led you here. So tell me a little bit about that, your awakening process.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, definitely been a humbling journey. That's I would say humbling is probably the best word to describe it. So I started my career as a medical director, and I thought I was going to become an orthopedic surgeon, which is like the opposite of what I do now, right? Um, And so, the short version of the story is that I was really good at achieving what I call sort of quote unquote like the American dream. To be a medical director at age like 23 in New York
Mm,
City, managing the healthcare of like actors, actresses, professional athletes, and high level execs. Um, not a lot of people get to be able to do that in their lifetime. And right out of university, I was just able to really achieve a lot in my career.
mhm,
And sort of fast forward a few years, I burned out. Um, I felt like there was something wrong with me because I had, on paper, my life was perfect. I was dating this incredible guy. I had amazing friends. I was living, in New York City on the Upper West Side, on Central Park West. But deep down, it was like I felt like something was missing, something that like didn't. My soul kind of felt like it was empty inside, despite sort of the external success and material wealth that I had created for myself.
mhm. So
So I ended. Yeah, go ahead.
at that point, did you have people on the outside reflecting that to you, or was it a completely internal feeling that you felt?
It was Yeah, it was an internal feeling, and looking back, hindsight is 2020, right? So at the time, it was like I felt stuck. I felt empty. I felt like there has to be more to life than fame, fortune, success. But I didn't quite know how to achieve it, and I didn't quite know what to do about it. If that makes sense.
Mhm,
Um, and so what I ended up doing, I ended up leaving the country and traveling the world for 6 months because I didn't know what else to do. And travel for me represented this a bit of a form of escape, but it also represented freedom to me that I could do anything go anywhere and be anyone.
Mm-hmm. And what
So I
did the
traveled the
people?
world.
Sorry, what did people around you say? I know I come back to, the external, but what did people around you say when you did that? Like when you just traveled, like you just
Yeah, well,
disconnected.
I mean, there was a bit of judgment, right, from other people of like, why aren't you happy? Like, you have everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you throwing away all the success that you've created?
Right.
So there was a bit of like external judgment. I mean, I was 24 slash on the day I turned 25, I left the country. So it was like I had already burnt out. I had like worked really, really hard to get where I was, and at the age of 24, I burned out. So it's like a lot of people achieve or experience like a midlife crisis. I
Mm-hmm.
experienced a quarter life crisis. So it's like, oh my God, like I've just accelerated this crisis point. By 25 years, what's wrong with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sort of had that a little bit reflected in the external world of like, well, you should be happy, so like just be happy. Um, but it wasn't that simple for me. There was this like deeper calling that my soul was yearning for, and
Right.
I wasn't sure how to tap into it in a really hectic, busy, and stressful city, surrounded by concrete, and a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
achieving a lot of success. Um, so fast forward a little bit because the awakening comes a little bit later. Comes during my Saturn Venus return at age 27, 28. I had returned to the U.S. after 6 months of traveling because I had found myself helping travelers with, you know, healing their low back pain, if they had knee pain, shoulder pain, helping them like cook healthy on a budget. So I found myself doing like one-off helping people,
Mm-hmm.
there came to a point where I felt a bit selfish of, I do have a lot of gifts and talents. I have worked really hard in this lifetime, and I have a lot of things to share with people. And I'm being really selfish by just sharing it with one person at a time as I meet them on my journey in different countries. So I did return to the US and took a different job in California. I thought that the quality of life would be a little bit more laid back, and I could just enjoy the beach a little bit more rather than live in a concrete jungle. Um, and I ended up taking a job working with professional athletes. And then essentially they had hired me to build a consumer brand of that same business model. So opening up a wellness center for high-level executives and really teaching them about mindset, nutrition, movement, and recovery. So again, I had sort of created this perfect life on paper scenario. I was,
Mm-hmm.
running this wellness center with a friend, and I was dating this amazing guy. I was living on the beach in Santa Monica. I could kind of create my life, and I was traveling a lot for work, and managing about 25 people in a wellness center. So again, things were really good until they weren't, right? My pattern in life is things are amazing until they break down.
So
And so,
at that point, you shifted the environment, but you still
mm-hmm.
ended up in a
Yes,
similar pattern.
yes,
How long it
yes.
took you to realize that, or to feel this sense of stuckness, or that something's
Yeah.
missing?
Yeah, well, the body doesn't lie. And so my body tends to break down. And so what ended up happening was within 24 hours, I had broken up with a guy that I thought I was going to marry. I got on a plane to go to Arizona, where the headquarters of our company was, and I found out we had to let go of our staff. So about 20 of the 25 wellness staff we had to let go of. But I couldn't tell them for 2 weeks because I had to help figure out how to let them go, as well as tell our 200 members that we were closing our doors. And then I literally got hit by a bus.
Mm. Just one
So
after the other.
yeah, it was just 1, 2, 3 it was actually, I think, within 12 hours, technically. But
Mm.
it was like at that moment, like I just wanted to, actually, I did lie in a fetal position. And I was like, I'm done. Like, beam me up. I'm done. I give up. I keep trying, and whatever I'm doing isn't working because my body keeps breaking down, my soul keeps craving this deeper meaning, and I wasn't sure how to achieve it because the way that I was taught from a little girl, I grew up in Massachusetts, was you get into a good school, you get a good job, you get married, you have kids, like the American dream. And it was that method, that path, that way of living wasn't working for me. And so my body literally is like, nope, try it again. Like, we're gonna course direct you.
It's like trial and error.
Yeah. I really had to figure out my own path, and no one that I know has lived my path. And I mean, essentially, no one can walk in each other's shoes. We all have our own unique paths. We all have our own unique gifts. And so my gift ended up showing up a few months after that sort of, terrible 3 accidents, where I was in a skiing accident and I tore some ligaments in my knee. And this was the biggest pivot that I've made in my life to date. Is I could have done my own physical therapy, pre and post-op surgery. I could have walked the orthopedic surgeons through my surgery, because that, again, at one point was going to be my career path. But I was so emotionally vulnerable and like ready to give up that I couldn't actually go through the 6 months of rehab that it would take. And so what ended up happening was a miracle, where I ended up healing my knee in 45 minutes without touching it.
Tell us some more about that.
It's the long version is actually written in a book, and I'm happy to share a free PDF of that chapter with your audience as well. But the short version is, and knowing what I know now as well, because we'll get into what I do now. But essentially, is every part of our body represents and means something, right? And so I was lucky enough to be with a friend who asked me essentially what my knee was trying to communicate to me, but I wasn't aware or conscious of the message. I was playing victim and giving up and just, I was done. So she sort of brought me into conscious awareness of what my knee was communicating. She asked me a question, and the question was, what are you trying to resist in your life? And when she asked that question, it was like a knife to my heart. And it literally, I could feel it like it pierced a veil. And it was like all these tears, all this emotion, all this sadness, all this grief, all this anger, all these emotions that I was holding in and suppressing throughout my existence up until that point. It unraveled. And she ended up slipping me a piece of paper and a pen. So I'm just having my earphone fall out. She slipped me a piece of paper and a pen, and I just journaled. And it was like all this emotion came through, all these ideas came through, and essentially a vision came to me. And it was what I was resisting was when we had changed from a consumer company, where I had to let go of the wellness staff. We had then moved into corporate wellness, so working with companies like Google, Intel, and LinkedIn. And during that transition, I had a few members come up to me and say, what do you need to continue this beautiful community that we've created here? We'd love to support you with raising some capital, and you can open up your own, wellness center. We'd love to follow you and support you. And, they were offering you how much you need. You need $1 million, 1.5. And it was like that reflection and that offer, I wasn't ready for that. It was like I didn't believe in myself the way that they believed in me. I felt like I was too young. Who am I to run a business? And in that moment of journaling, it went back to that memory, and it was like, oh my God, they believed in me more than I believed in myself. And it was like I was actually gaining the strength and the belief and the confidence of I should have taken their offer. I should have gone that route. I would have been happier. And I believe everything happens for a reason.
Right. So when it did happen that they gave you that offer in real time, you didn't really like dwell on it too much. You sort of just passed it off and didn't really at that point didn't really think much of it. You just, how was
Yeah,
it?
I considered it, and I actually went to the founder of the company and said, "Hey, we have this offer. Can we do this under the guise of your company, which is backed by millions of dollars, and the support and the structure of a team?"
Mm-hmm.
And the founder, and CEO were saying, "No, we're focusing more on corporate wellness." And for me, it was like, "Oh, okay, I'll continue to be safe and secure and keep my job and continue on with your version rather than bringing my vision to life, which
Okay.
I've always had a vision of having a healing center, and
Mm.
running that. And it was like I gave up on my dreams and I committed to helping someone else bring their dreams and their vision to life, and gave up on myself and my own dreams. And so in that moment of journaling and reflecting, it was like, oh my goodness, like I want to go back and not erase it or change it, but it was
Mhm.
like, it's not too late. I can still run my own wellness business. And
Mm.
so, I was creating ideas and visions for that when my friend came back and checked on me about, 45 minutes later to an hour, and she asked me if I was hungry. And I was like, oh my God, I'm starving. That it was like 3 in the afternoon. My stomach was all in knots earlier, so I hadn't eaten anything all day. And so I
Mm.
got up and I walked about 10 feet to join her. And it wasn't until I got to her that I realized I had actually just walked weight bearing on both legs. And earlier that day and the day before, like I couldn't weight bear on that leg. The ligaments
Mhm.
were torn and it was too painful. And in that moment of like awareness, I was like, where did the pain go? Like in that consciousness,
You
back
just,
then,
you
it
wrote
was
it
like
all out.
I didn't understand it. I actually wanted to get the pain back because I didn't understand how that was possible. Because in that moment, everything that I had known to be true in the world was actually false. Like if that was possible, if what I had just experienced was a miraculous healing of some ligaments in my knee being torn and then healed,
Mhm.
then it was like, well, what else is actually possible in this world?
Right.
And what is the mind body connection? How do our thoughts impact our bodies? And how do our bodies then guide us in this journey called life?
Yeah. That's a really powerful example. I'm sure you can't ever get that out of your, like that memory of how a miracle could happen from in so short of time, from just doing the right thing, just doing the thing that really will make the difference for you. The
It well,
reason.
it wasn't intentional.
Mhm.
Now I do it intentionally, but in that moment, it was like my
Right.
body needed to break down, and I needed to experience a miracle to believe that there is more to this world than what we see,
Mhm.
and to facts and science. And so it began a journey for me, a very curious and innocent journey of not learning proper education for the sake of, getting into a good school, getting a good job, and being successful and having a lot of money. I began a journey of self discovery where I was really curious and I really truly wanted to learn. And the universe and the world became my playground, and it became my classroom, and it became this like, well, what is possible? What can we create? What can we manifest? And
Right.
how does the universe mirror and reflect back to us our consciousness level and what we believe to be true?
So yeah, so that's like a gift for you at that time of, you did the work and now it's like, oh well, there's so much you can actually put actually materialize this. If this could happen, then anything could happen.
Yeah, it was really it blew my mind. Like just looking back at it, and reflecting, it was a game changer for me. I ended up, quitting my job shortly afterwards, writing a book with my dad that healed my relationship with my dad, and it really empowered me that I do have the confidence and the gifts and the skill set to, to share with the world. And
Mhm.
so, I then got my master's in Reiki. I got my master's in psychosomatics. I became a forensic healer, trained as a medium. So I did all these certifications and, you know, extra schooling and education to really learn a structure around what is actually possible around energy, and around healing and around mind body connection. And I've really developed what I call psychic surgery. So rather than doing orthopedic surgery, I now can energetically tune into someone's body and mind and see where there's something imprinted in your DNA that's holding you back from living your fullest life, living your best life, and really stepping into your soul's purpose in this lifetime.
Okay, so this is
So yeah,
beyond, this is beyond like medical intuition for like your soul, like
yeah,
looking
yeah.
deeper into. Nice. So you have a lot of gifts that you consolidated to with all of this training. So the gifts came to your awareness through all of these experiences, right? That that like saved to you on a platter. This is what you're capable of. Why why deny?
Yeah, and then it's about empowering other people, like you're capable of this as well, right? So a lot of it's leading by example and
Right,
showing people and mirroring and reflecting like this is possible for you too. Um,
right,
in terms of discovering what your soul's gifts are, and then discovering how you can best share them with the world and really express your authentic truth. That's
right.
what really lights me up, is really reflecting back other people's gifts and allowing them and empowering them to really share those with other people.
Yeah, because I observe that there's that missing link with the expression of your gifts, right? And I know you have some insight on that about the embodiment process of actually using your gifts in service and integrating it. Because people are aware of, that they have gifts, but there's often that question on what to do next. Like what do I do with my gifts? So what can you share about that to help people?
Yeah, the you brought up some great things. The integration and embodiment is really key, because if we don't embody our gifts, if we don't embody our authentic truth, uh, then the healing that we do on our journey won't actually last. The transformation is very limited. So someone can go see a healer and receive, say, like a Reiki session, for example, and feel really good afterwards.
Right.
But if you don't actually change the way that you show up for yourself and the way that you show
Mm-hmm.
up in the world after that healing session, then you're not actually going to experience long-lasting transformation, right? Because you
Right.
haven't fully embodied it. It's
Mm-hmm.
energetic. It's sort of a pie in the sky idea, and we need to really ground and anchor those gifts into reality. And so
Mm-hmm.
the work that I do, I work with clients in mentorships over a period of 3, 6, 9, and 12 months, and it's really about holding a container to support people in not only doing the psychic surgery to remove them from what's blocking them from really stepping into their power and
Right.
owning their truth and owning their gifts, but it's also giving them, you know, really like nuggets of new ways of being to show up in their own life. So it's
Mm-hmm.
new beliefs that we're clearing out old beliefs that are outdated and actually maybe not even be theirs. So we're clearing those out and we're creating new beliefs and empowering them to really apply those new beliefs to their life so that they can show up differently for themselves and then differently for their clients, for their families, for their loved ones. And so for what I've discovered, it's the embodiment practices that really that people can practice over time that really change their life, that really empower them to step into the next level, the next version of themselves.
Right. And grounding. People talk about grounding, but it's not only grounding in that way, it's the grounding you into will. And on reflection of your own life too, you have been embodying even before all of this. you've been embodying so many different, rapidly different aspects of yourself and reaching a certain point. So even though it's not what you're doing right now, you have that expertise too in embodiments in different ways. So that's really, like you can see from different angles when you look back.
Yeah, and I believe like I love listening to people's stories and people's journeys of how they got to the present moment, because everything that we've experienced up until this moment serves us, from a stance that we can take the lessons learned and apply them into our life today. So I believe that the careers that we may have had before, mostly entrepreneurs are listening, it's, for myself, my example is being a medical director really helped ground my understanding of the anatomy of the human body, right? And how the body functions and moves. And I was an athlete as well. So it really helped give me this awareness that really supports and gives me credibility in being a healer and being a spiritual guide. So it really grounds those healing gifts and those other realms and dimension gifts into reality, because I have that scientific background.
Right.
And so the same thing applies to other people in other fields and industries as well. Nothing happens by chance. It all happens for a reason. It all happens to support us in really awakening, and really stepping into our true purpose on this earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because often in reflection, you might be thinking, well, what was I thinking back then to go to follow that path, right? But it saved the purpose to help you integrate something, to help you apply something. So, do you have any tips to share with with everyone listening or who be listening to this about this process, about embodying one's self in
Yeah, I have a few tips. It helps to get specific. So I guess what I'll share is, we've just moved through the Lionsgate portal. It was really intense from July 26th through August 12th. So there's just been a lot of energy in the universe this summer, essentially, over the last couple of months, and we're really moving into a space of integration, a space of embodiment. It feels like the universe like shook us all up and showed us what wasn't working in our life. It showed us what wasn't serving us anymore. And it really brought those old wounds to the surface to be witnessed again, to be felt and experienced, so that we can finally, once and for all, let them go. And so I'll share two things that I've been sharing with clients a lot in the last couple of months is, actually maybe three things. We'll see how it goes. First is we have our breath, right? So a lot of people forget to actually take deep breaths. So a lot of people go through life and they may be holding their breath, they're taking really shallow breaths. They may be stressed out, they may be anxious. Again, over the last couple months, it's been really intense. And so when it's intense, a lot of people tend to sort of contract and go in, and their breath gets shallow. And so what I've been doing with a lot of private clients lately is just taking them through like a breathing exercise to really help them get out of their head and drop into their body, into their heart, and allow their heart to open, and make choices from there. There's been a lot of people either ending careers, moving to different states or moving to different countries, people ending relationships. So there have been a lot of big life decisions, big life-changing moments in their life come up over the last couple of months. And what I've really taken clients through is you never make a decision based out of fear. You always make a decision based from love and from empowerment. And so I'm happy to take you through just this. It's a really simple breath exercise, but it's very empowering because you always have your breath with you. It's free and you have access to it 24/7. So it's the biggest tool that I can share with everyone right now that can actually shift your energy and how you feel. So do you
Okay.
want to do the quick breathing exercise?
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm just going to invite you, listening, you're welcome to close your eyes. I've already closed my eyes. If you're sitting down, I invite you to either stand up. I know we're going to be sitting, so we've got our cameras on. I invite you to have your feet flat on the ground. And if you're listening and you can, I do invite you to do this, or even if you're doing this later, I invite you to go outside and do this. Put your feet barefoot on the earth. So for now, we're going to do it wherever we are and wherever we're listening to this from. So what you're going to do is you're going to picture the ground underneath your feet, and you're going to picture the roots of the ground going deep into the core of the earth, and you're going to picture a huge, massive crystalline grid that it's connected to. And so what you're going to do is you're going to take a deep breath in, and you're going to breathe up through that crystal, up through the roots and the core of the earth, up through the bottoms of your feet, up through your legs, up through your torso, through your spine, through your face, and you're going to hold your breath at the crown chakra, the top of your head. You're going to hold that for a 4 count. And then when you're ready, you're going to exhale everything loudly back down through your body, through your torso, through your legs, down through your feet into Mother Earth, and back to that crystalline grid. So each one is a 4 count. You're going to hold it at the bottom for a 4 count. And what you're doing is you're pulling up that energy of love, of support, of connection from the crystalline grid up through the core of the earth, up through your feet, up through your legs, your torso, your spine, up to your crown. You're going to hold that for a 4 count at the top. And you're holding and breathing in everything that no longer serves you. If there's any stress, any anxiety. And when you breathe out, you're going to exhale all that stress, all that anxiety, everything that no longer served you back down into the core of the earth. Let's do 2 more. So we're going to do a deep breath in, up through the soles of your feet, up through your body, up to your crown chakra. You're going to hold that for a 4 count. And when you're ready, you're going to exhale all the way back down into the earth. And when you're ready, you're going to do another deep breath in, up through the soles of your feet, up through your body, up through to the crown of your head. And then hold that for a 4 count. And when you're ready, you're going to exhale everything that no longer serves you back down into the earth. And then now just let your breath sort of normalize. And connect with how you're feeling in your body right now. So I don't know, Sasha, do you want to share how you feel in your body right now?
A lot of expansion, especially upper. And yeah, expansion is the word. It's like breathe, like 3 movements inside.
Beautiful.
Sometimes hard to put the words of what you're
Expansion
feeling.
is perfect. Expansion is
Yeah,
perfect, but
it's like
it's like I can even see your face glowing a bit more. You just feel like this inner sense of expansion, freedom, happiness.
yeah, especially up
And you
here.
can, yeah, amazing. And you can do that anytime, right? So when you go through intense periods in your life, you're going through, a major decision that you need, breathe. Every time you get anxious or stressed out, just take, like a minute and breathe. And you'll be coming from a different place. That saying is you can't solve a problem from the mindset of where the problem was created. I have a client who was about to move her family of 3 kids and husband to a different state, and nothing was flowing, nothing was working. And she calls me, she's all stressed out. we do this breathing exercise, and literally, she didn't make a decision that day. The next day, it was like everything opened up, and her husband actually got an opportunity for the family to either stay in their current home, in their current state, or move. And what was coming up for the client the day before was she felt like she had to move her family, and she wasn't sure if it was right for her family or not, but she felt sort of like stuck, like she had to. And so now, after doing the breathing and just shifting her energy, it was like the universe showed her she actually does have a choice, and she can choose to stay or she can choose to move. Right? So it's about taking your power back when you feel stressed or anxious, or when you feel like you don't have a choice, when you feel like you don't have any control in your life. Just do the breathing exercise, shift your energy, and then watch what the universe mirrors and shows you about how your energy shifted.
Right, because you're like opening space in your energy field in your body to receive something
Yeah.
that's right, that's aligned, and again, depending on how you do it too, right? Like when you come
Yeah.
from that space of love, this is the fear and the tightness, constriction.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we
And
can. It's not to shame the fear. It's not to make the fear or the anxiety wrong. You do want to listen and figure out where it's coming from, and you can do that much easier from a place of love once you've breathed and moved through.
right,
Once with my client, again, going back to that client who was feeling forced to move, after we did the breathing, we could then explore what was underneath the fear, what was underneath the anxiety, what was underneath nothing working. They couldn't find a home, and the kids had to start school in less than a week. Imagine moving 3 children under the age of 10, without having a house, and they have to start school, and, again, all the stress. It was like we were able to dig deeper into what was going on just after breathing for a minute.
right. Because those kinds of things will have your mind like going around in circles, and you lose
Right.
touch with your body and yourself, like just your presence, and
Yeah.
I guess like your sense of empowerment too, right? What goes with that.
Yeah. Yeah, rather than like making a decision based out of contraction and fear, it's like you breathe and you feel expanded and you come from a place of love. And there's so much more possibility when you come from that place because it is
Yeah.
empowering. And there are so many choices and opportunities available to us from that space. But when we're contracted in fear, there's usually a limited amount of options available to us. So it's just a choice of how we want to show up.
Right. And it's such a simple thing, right? But and sometimes like the understanding will be like you have to do something big to make a big change. But,
No, it's the
but
small things
yeah,
that make a big difference in your life when you actually apply them to your life. Right? So this
right,
one simple tool, you can apply it to your life and see how it will impact it, or you can blow it off and say, it's just breathing, no big deal, and you can then allow fear and anxiety to creep in and overpower you. Right? So it's everything's a choice in
right,
life, and you can choose to do something that's going to serve you and empower you to show up in a way that's empowering from a place of love and expansion, or you can choose to stay stuck in that fear and that contraction. Right?
right.
Everything's a choice.
So I'm looking at time. It's time flies so fast when there's so much that we can expand and grow together with and sharing. Like it really never ends, this journey, but it'll have to end today sometime soon. So, do you have anything else to share? Any other tips on before we start wrapping up?
Yeah. Well, do you have any questions? Or are there any questions for any listeners? There,
So,
let me
let's see.
let
While
me know
you
how
while
you can
you
best.
While you share, I'll just see, I'll just look and see if there's anything else. I don't see anything right now, but you can go
So
ahead.
another thing that I'll share is that the body holds all of our wisdom, right? So we have all the answers within ourselves, even though we're taught at a young age to look outside of ourselves for the answers. So another tip that I teach clients, and I actually just did this, I do initiations and activations at sacred sites here in Kauai. So I had a
Oh,
couple yeah, it's really powerful.
right.
I had a couple here the other day that I held space for, and I taught them how to do this, and it's been really empowering for them. So I'd love to share it with you guys here. And the quick version of it is it's learning to tune into your body and what your body is guiding and communicating to you. And so an easy way to start would be to start in a standing position and to, again, close your eyes, and you want to ask your body, what does a yes feel like and look like to me? And what you do is you wait for a response from your body. So some people's bodies will actually move, whether it's forward or backward or side to side or sway or whatever it is. And some people's bodies it'll be more internal, so they'll feel something inside,
Right.
right? And then once you're confident in what a yes looks and feels like to your body, you then want to ask your body, what does a no look and feel like? And you, again, eyes are closed, you're tuning in, you're listening, and you're feeling in your body, and you're waiting for any kind of response that your body communicates. And then what you do, the application to that, after you become confident in what a yes and a no feels like, and it will take time, so you do want to practice a bit with it, you then ask your body simple questions that don't, you're not going to ask your body, should I move to Australia, yes or no? Because that's gonna change the outcome of your life, and that's gonna be something somewhat drastic. That is a
Right.
question that I asked my body, but I've been doing this for a long time. So I invite you to start with, what does my body, want to eat for lunch or dinner, wherever you are in the world in terms of, what time it is to eat. I always use eating because you can ask your body, is it in my soul's highest interest to have a quinoa salad for dinner tonight? And wait and ask, see what it says. And the key is to listen. So if my body said yes, the key is to then have a quinoa salad for dinner, right? If my body said no, then I ask it a different question and say, does my body want a spinach salad for dinner? And asking it until I get a yes.
Right.
And what we're doing is we're developing a relationship with our body the same way we develop a relationship with another human being.
Mm.
So, a key is Sasha, if I kept asking you, if I asked you a question and you gave me an answer, but you didn't actually follow through with it, if you kept doing that, right? If you kept asking my advice for something and I kept giving you an answer and you did the opposite of it, at some point I would probably stop giving you advice because you always did the opposite. You were never listening to me, right?
Right.
It's the same thing with your body. So if you ask your body, is it in my higher self's best interest to have a quinoa salad tonight? And the answer is yes. And I go out and have, say a steak, even though I don't eat meat, I'm now going against what my body is communicating and suggesting and guiding me to do. So
Right.
I'm going against my own soul. I'm essentially betraying my soul, my body, and saying, I'm not validating you. I'm not listening to you. I'm going to rebel.
Right.
And so that is not a good way to develop a relationship with any person, let alone yourself, let alone your own body, your own soul. And so I suggest that you only ask the questions in the beginning that you're unattached to, so that you can listen no matter what. Right? Perhaps you're going on a walk in the woods and you come to sort of a path where you can either go left or right, and you've never been there before. So you tune in and you ask your body, is it in my higher self's best interest to go left? and wait for a response. And if the answer is yes, then you go left, right? So you ask, the key is to ask little questions that aren't going to impact the greater vision of your life, so that you and your body develop a trust and a rapport, and you're building that relationship, so that when you are ready to ask your body a bigger question, like I did several years ago of, do I move to Australia? The answer was yes. So I ended up selling everything I own and bought a one-way plane ticket to Sydney, Australia. You ask the little questions until you're ready to do anything that your body and your soul communicates to you.
That's a really powerful piece of guidance there, because you have like a GPS within you,
Exactly.
right? To figure, like, you don't have to think about this feeling. It's like tuning in, and it's like over time as you build the relationship, it gets stronger, and then it's like we don't really think about a body like that. Like the general view is more, it's a more aggressive approach. It's more like you do that. Like, push instead of being like working together. That's a really important point to
Well, again,
remember.
it's the difference between seeking something external and looking for the answers within. So again, like we have our breath with us always, and we have our body with us always. So it's learning how not to rely on anyone or anything else outside of you, and it's really learning how to rely,
Trust.
and look for the answers within yourself, knowing that you have everything that you need in this moment.
Yeah.
And really trusting and believing that.
Right. And when you're at
So
that
a lot
place,
of the work, yeah, so a lot of the work that I do is about empowering other people to find the answers within themselves, right? Is the couple that I did the sacred site visit and experience the other day, the man asked me, he's like, well, here's what I felt, but what do you feel? And it was like, no, it's not about me. It's about you. What did you feel? And how did that feel? What was your experience, right? It's giving, not allowing people as well. Like I think in a role that you and I have as, spiritual guides and healers, it's not about telling them what to do or showing them. It's about empowering them, giving their power back when they give their power up, giving
right.
the power back to them and saying, you have all the answers within you. Let's
Yeah.
teach you how to master your own inner guidance, your own inner GPS, so you don't have to rely on me or anyone else.
Because yours is much more powerful for you, right? And it saves a lot of time and energy. You don't have to ask. You don't have to constantly. But it's like it comes with time, that trust too. It comes with practice, and some people have a natural trust too in themselves, and they don't actually recognize that. And yeah, I suppose in your own story too, all the things that you did before, so much in a short time, that you had to trust some part of yourself to reach a certain, even if it was outside, an achievement from the outside, but it was still, you still relied on something within to achieve that. So time's going. So we're gonna start wrapping up. Thank you so much, Marissa, for coming here, for sharing your wisdom, your experience, your story, and for showing people what is possible, what is, like, what potential lies within, even in the most, the smallest instance. There's so much to be gained from that, from a little thing like reading. So I want to give you an opportunity to share your side, ways to connect with you, and offering that you have right now for the people to work with you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed chatting with you. And I hope this serves people who are listening as well. You can find me, you can message me here on Facebook, Marissa O'Neill. I can share some links below. My website is www.marissao'neill.com. And if you go to the gifts and resources page, you can find that free chapter of how I healed my knee in 45 minutes without touching it. And if you are listening and you want to dive in further and really uncover and empower yourself to take your life to the next level, I do have a special 7-day VIP energy upgrade that I would love to share with you. And so you can find that on my website and you can book in. And I would love to support you on your journey. And to wrap up, we're just sharing into sort of bringing it and tying it into the mentorship package that I offer as well. Is I believe our healing journey and our sort of awakening journey is about bringing wholeness to ourselves. So it's finding that trust within ourselves, finding that empowerment within ourselves, that belief within ourselves, and really, nurturing ourselves back to wholeness. And that's what I love doing, is really holding the space to allow you to remember all aspects of yourself, so you can bring yourself back into wholeness, back into alignment, and you can share your gifts with the world.
Yes, and then achieve that, will feel that freedom and the bliss and all
Yes,
that comes with it, right? Um,
absolutely.
there's so much to experience on that side of things when you go deeper and become aware of more of yourself, right? All that is possible for you. So with that, we're gonna end today. This was the first superstar guest spotlight for this year, actually. So thanks for being the first one as we restart the cycle. And yeah, and so tune in again for more guests like Marissa. We're going to share more about how you can tap into your gifts that give you inspiration and guidance to get going with that. So until next time, it's bye from me and Marissa.
Awesome. Aloha.